Hello, everyone. My name is Cassandra Raine-Francis, and I am the founder and owner of Life After Love LLC, your personal, professional, and grief coach. And I am here to talk to Miss is Nakebi Swanigan today. My sister, my friend, my prayer partner, my girl. I'm just so
Yeah.
elated to have her here today. May is a host of several different things. Mental Health Awareness Month, but it's also Lupus Awareness Month. So I couldn't let May get away without talking to her and allowing her to share her testimony, her story, as well as her experience. So I'm introducing Nakebi Swanigan. And Nakebi, I would just let you go ahead and introduce yourself. Can you just start by telling us a bit about yourself and when you were first diagnosed with lupus?
Okay. Well, as Cassandra said, I am Nakebi Swanigan. I am a wife. I'm a mother of seven, grandmother of three, business owner, ministry leader. Uh, Most importantly, I'm a Christian.
Yes.
Uh, yes. So I was diagnosed with lupus back in 2008. I'll give you a little of the backstory of how I became to be diagnosed. I actually was having some problems with some pain in my back. I thought that it was my pillow. I was sleeping incorrectly. Got a new pillow, thought it was my mattress, got a new mattress. Um, Worked several hours, 12, 14-hour days. By the end of the day, I was exhausted. But one night I came home and I couldn't even hold the key study to put it in the keyhole. So that's how I initially started out going to the doctor and finding out that I had lupus. So,
Wow. Okay. Okay. So I heard you say normal thing. I mean, you would think that it's something
yeah.
normal, but
Hmm.
something as much as or as little as back pain and then
Hmm.
had some issues being able to unlock the door is
Hmm.
kind of what prompted you to uh, go get checked out. And so, what was that diagnosis like? Was it just random testing? How long did it take for them to diagnose you with the condition?
Well, it took them probably a few weeks to a month. There were multiple blood tests performed. They did x rays. They were concerned because I told them how long the pain had been going on. So they wanted to do x rays to assure that I didn't have any damage to my joints or anything like that, which I did not. But getting on the medication, I was taking the type of medication that it has to get into your bloodstream, which could take up to 2 months. So
Okay,
it,
okay, okay. Yeah, I've read before where lupus and then rheumatoid arthritis can work hand in hand. And so, did they diagnose you with any type of arthritis, or they just automatically said it's lupus?
no, actually, they did some testing because they thought that I might have rheumatoid arthritis. But when additional testing was performed, they actually found out that I did have lupus.
Okay. Do you have a family history of anyone having lupus in your family?
I do not. I had a cousin that was diagnosed afterwards, some years later. She did not, because lupus is, they say that it's not genetics, that it can be induced by like drugs, if you're taking drugs for something else or that sort. I honestly believe extreme fatigue, stress, because we both, my cousin and I, share those commonalities, just due to, life.
Mhm.
But yes, I have one cousin that does have lupus, but she's older than I am, but wasn't diagnosed until afterwards.
Gotcha. And
Hmm.
what age were you when you were diagnosed?
Let's see. You'll make me tell my age like that?
Have to. You don't have to do that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I often relate it to my son's 13th birthday because I just vividly remember his 13th birthday. So I was probably about 28.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Hmm.
Yeah, so teenager, that's enough stress in itself to bring about all kinds of things. So
Absolutely.
I got it.
Absolutely.
Um, so how did you feel emotionally and mentally when you first received that diagnosis?
Um, I had mixed emotions.
Mm-hmm.
If I can be honest, I asked God, why me?
Mm-hmm.
Then the Holy Spirit told me, why not you?
Right.
Uh, So I was upset with God. How can I be this young and having to get ready to take a cocktail of pills in order to try to just live everyday life?
Mm-hmm.
It was just a series of emotions. I can remember one day uh, calling my cousin, and I was so frustrated because I couldn't open up a little container of pudding. And I just wanted to open that up. And I just started crying. And I called her and I was like, can you please just come down here? I just want this pudding. Just please. And she's like, are you crying? I was like, yes, I just need your help. I just need your help.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like several emotions that I went through the first couple of months until I was able to get the medicine into my system, because it allowed me to be able to feel like that I could function on a day to day basis. So,
Got it. Got it. And that's where that age question came from, right? That I'm
mhm,
glad that you brought that up. Talked about, you being 28. That's a young woman.
mhm,
Sometimes people get the misconception that this disease, if they do get it or have it, that's something that would come on later in life, in your 50s or, later, which
mhm.
is a misconception. I know.
Very much so.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why that question was so profound because, like you say, you weren't even 30 yet. So how has lupus impacted your personal and your professional life?
Oh. So we'll start with, I'll first say that I had been in remission for 10 years and just this year recently have had a flare up.
Mm-hmm.
So it was almost like getting diagnosed for the first time all over again. I tried to hide it from people because I've generally been a very strong individual. I was a single mother for 18 years, and you just have to, you know, you just have to do it. So I tried to hide it from my children until I couldn't.
Right.
And then I had to sit down and have a personal conversation with them to let them know, look, there's going to be some days that mommy can't, and when mommy can, I need y'all to be, big kids. Do the things that I know that you can do for yourself. And
Right.
when mommy's feeling better, I will do all the things that I normally do. Um, this time I had a little bit more support. My husband was here to support emotionally, physically. There were moments when I could barely even dress myself. But to be able to have support from my children and from my husband means the world when you're going through this type of thing. When I was working, I was embarrassed a little, I would say, because I was in management and I felt like that if I shared that it would be a sign of weakness.
Mm.
Um, But then I just had to tell myself this is something that I have to deal with as an individual and professionally. I just have to let them know that there are going to be some days that I can't, you
Right.
know, and that has to be acceptable.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
When you were working, did you have a reasonable accommodation or anything like that in place when you were working?
I did. Since I was working for a corporation, I was able to obtain FMLA, um, which allowed me to be able to call in on those days that I wasn't able to. The only bad thing about it is sometimes you think, okay, I can push through this day.
Mm.
I'll have enough energy, and you might get 4 or 5 hours into the day and be like, oh, I don't think I can.
Right.
Um, but you just have to realize that it's okay not to be able to. That's what I most definitely would tell anybody because some of those days I did try to still continue. I was there, I was present. So I said, I just need to push through. But I would advise individuals to put yourselves first.
Yeah.
And especially if you already have the accommodations, use them.
Right.
I know that there are a lot of individuals that abuse FMLA and things like that. But if you need it and you have it, use it.
Right, right. It's there for that reason. So
Hmm.
lots of people don't realize that they do have options when they are diagnosed with conditions and maybe have some issues or some disabilities even. So I'm
Hmm.
glad that you knew about that and you were able to work through that and have that for yourself. But yet, you tell us about the next phase as you journey through your corporate career, and then what?
So I run my business full time now. And as a business owner, I know most individuals will know when you own it, you own it.
Mhm.
It's not like that you can ever put it down or uh, call in
Yeah.
because your clients, your customers, they depend on you.
Mhm.
Um, so my situation now is that I've just kind of been trying to push through it, you
Mhm.
know, working less hours when I can, trying to take care of myself, trying to allow the medication to get into my system because it's that fresh
Mhm.
that I'm now back on a medication, and just trying to minimize the hours that I do work.
Okay, got it. And lucky for you as a business owner, you have some flexibility to do
Hmm.
that, a little bit. That
Yes.
that is the benefit.
Hmm.
But again, you own it. So, I'm sure there are times where you really just wanted to stay in bed or not,
Absolutely.
go in or not drive or whatever, and then you may have had to. Um,
Mhm.
and so that brings me to the next question is what would you say would be the most challenging symptoms or flare-ups with this disease that you've experienced?
That I have experienced, it would definitely be my joint pain.
Mm,
I've had rashes this go around, but the joint pain, it always gets me just because it minimizes what I can do for myself.
mm,
It kind of brings into perspective for me uh, as if I was getting older, if I was elder, and how they need help sometimes. And still, at the tender age of 50, I should be able to dress myself, you know. I shouldn't have to worry about the type of clothing that I wear for the day. So I know that I'm able, to do the things that I need to do throughout the day. But that's the most challenging is the joint pain in my hands and probably in my body that restrict me from just doing the things that I could do for myself on a daily basis.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, because one thing about it that as we have been in connection and have grown closer with each other, and then you hadn't had anything, any flare ups or anything like that, I do notice that as I've talked to people that have the condition, the unpredictability.
Oh,
You
yes.
just don't know when it's going to come. So, how have you been able to manage the fact of it's just unpredictable?
By taking life one day at a time.
Hmm.
Uh, I may have not been able to barely pull myself out of the bed yesterday, but um, wake up the next day with a decent energy level. And hey, today I maximize on that energy level that I have. I
Right.
can do the things that I couldn't do yesterday and try not to overdo it. But when I feel good, then I'm working. I'm doing those things that I need to do, have done yesterday.
Right.
Uh, but just one day at a time.
Yes, yes, one day at a time. And I would say it's important to listen to your body,
Oh, absolutely.
rest that you definitely need. As women, sometimes that's hard for us if we don't have a condition, but uh
That's
listening to your
true.
body and taking the rest that you need, I'm sure has been pivotal and key for you as well.
Yes, it has. That is a very good point to bring up because your body will let you know
Mhm.
um, if you've done too much within the day. Will come a point in time throughout the day where your body is going to say, "No, I'm done. It's enough."
Right.
Uh, or even um, just trying to do something, trying to get up and go. Like this may be a day that I just need to stay in the bed.
Yeah.
Like I always try, and if my body tells me no, then it's a no.
Right.
I've got to get that rest in order to be able to try to even have a successful tomorrow. So, absolutely, listening to your body is very, very important.
Right. Right. And since you had such a long stint of remission,
Mhm.
and now that some things have started to come back now, have you felt misunderstood or dismissed by your healthcare providers since you've been initially diagnosed and even experiencing what you are now?
No, I actually have a great team. She was on top of it. My original doctor has retired. Within that 10 years, he retired. She was very supportive, asking what type of medication did I think that I would want to take, always allowing me to be in the decision making, which for me is very big.
Yes, yes.
It's one thing for someone to, say, hey, you need to take this, this, and this, but it's a whole nother thing for them to discuss it with you
Hmm.
and how it'll affect you and those type of things. So I've had a lot of support. Um, as far as giving me medication in order to be able to sustain myself until the medication kicks all the way in. But my medical group has really been very supportive, doing all types of testing, uh, pretty much doing a baseline just as if I was just diagnosed since it's been so long. So they have been awesome.
Okay, good, good. It's so important to be an advocate for yourself. I know
Absolutely.
with um, different conditions, especially us as Black women, sometimes we are dismissed or our
Hmm.
symptoms. But the fact that you have a great team and that you're in charge and can take the will of that, that is awesome. Um,
Yes.
so your lifestyle, right? Are there any specific routines or diets or wellness practices that help you to manage your symptoms?
Healthy is a healthier diet, increase water intake, fruits, vegetables, anything that may help. And everybody is different. So you just have to do the research and find out some of the foods that reduce inflammation and that type of thing. But I just try to eat healthier, more fruits, more vegetables, try to stay away. Now, I love me some potato chips now. So I'm always going to have my chips every now and then. But
Mhm.
I most definitely just try to have a good, well balanced diet. And
Mhm.
also, when I'm able, I try to exercise.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. What mental health strategies or coping mechanisms have been most helpful to you?
Prayer, most definitely, uh, has gotten me through the whole thing. Prayer, and now I journal.
Mm.
I'm working on trying to take more time out to myself,
Mhm.
just to be able to talk to God and to be able to journal um, mentally
Right.
is a tool just to help you to make it through on those days that you don't think that you'll be able to.
Right. That is taking time out for yourself, so important. Absolutely important. Again, as women, we forget about that, regardless if there's conditions or illnesses or any of that. So the fact
Hmm.
that, you want to do those things before there's an issue,
Right.
problem,
Right.
absolutely want to do those things when there is. So kudos to you for making sure that you are stepping up in that area and doing those things. Prayer absolutely is essential. Again, you're my prayer partner, so
Mhm.
I take for granted that sometimes I call and unload. Not knowing that my sister's joints is over there hurting and things.
You are fine. You can call me anytime, anytime.
But yeah, so what role, I know you say your husband and your children, but what role has support from family and friends or maybe even online communities played in your journey?
Um, I would most definitely, for anybody who is newly or does not have a online support group, I would absolutely suggest that to them. Um, it is a different type of support to
Mm-hmm.
be able to communicate and talk to people that are going through the absolute same thing that you are doing. I did that when I was initially diagnosed with lupus,
Mm-hmm.
and it's called My Team, I think, My
Okay.
Lupus Team. And you're just able to pick people and you communicate with those individuals. There's encouragement. Somebody may be having a bad day in the group, and you can love on them and encourage them. Um, People actually talk about the different medications that they are taking. If something isn't working for you, and it may make a suggestion to someone else, but it is really, really a blessing to be able to have a support group of individuals that have lupus, just to be able to be there for one another.
Right, right. That is awesome. I know some people may be shy or don't want
Mhm.
to, announce that they have that, but I know with a lot of different groups or, online communities, people join and don't post a thing. They're just able to read
Mhm.
the comments and see or watch videos or what have you and just get information. So for
Mhm.
any of those that may be in that introverted space or don't necessarily
Mhm.
want to share, you can always join a community and just observe, just
Mhm.
watch, just look, just like if you choose or don't, but you might find some helpful information there. So that is awesome. Have you went back onto the online community since you've had the most recent flare up?
I have not. I have
Okay.
not, but not this time.
Okay.
I actually seen an email today and was thinking that I needed to hop on and just see how the individuals are doing, and then just maybe share, um, about myself,
Mhm.
and some of the things that I'm going through now, and just to be an encouragement. Sometimes, if you're going through something, if you can encourage someone else, it actually can lift your spirits up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nakiba, what do you wish more people understood about lupus? And how do you combat the stigmas that's associated with the disease?
Um, just because I look well, that I'm not well.
Yes.
And I think that that just goes back to the rule that you never know what an individual is going through.
Right.
Uh, have compassion with people, and this should just be in your everyday life, but
Mhm.
just at least have compassion about people. Read individuals. I mean, generally, you can tell when someone. Uh, if you're present, you can generally tell if someone is not feeling well.
Mhm.
Um, but just because I look well doesn't mean that all is well with me. It's called the invisible disease because sometimes we struggle with a lot of pain, and we may not necessarily show any physical, you know, um, signs that we're sick.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. That you know, sometimes you can tell by a person's countenance if you
mhm,
work with someone or maybe fellowship with someone and they just seem a little off. You
mhm.
can always ask that what's wrong,
Right.
and someone may or may not say if there is something, but you can typically tell. And so
Mhm.
that may be, your opportunity to encourage or uplift or back off potentially.
Yeah.
Offer help, whatever that does look
Right.
like. So, I'm glad that you mentioned that because people struggle in a multitude of ways and it doesn't have to always appear outwardly. There could be things
Mhm.
going on mentally, emotionally, spiritually, internally. So, I'm glad that you made reference to that. And so, looking back, what have you learned about yourself during this journey?
Oh, that I can't always do it all.
What?
And that
Repeat that.
that I cannot always do it all.
Yeah,
But guess what? It's okay.
yeah.
It's okay to put yourself first. It is absolutely okay to take care of you. And I think that that's probably what I struggled with the most the first time
Mhm,
when I initially got diagnosed, uh, is that I thought that I just had to, you know, uh,
mhm,
continue on at the speed that I was going. Uh, Fighting through the pain. And I'm not saying not to fight through the pain, absolutely be a lupus warrior, but know
mhm,
your limitations, know your body, and listen to your body.
mhm.
Take those breaks. If you feel like that you need a nap, take a nap.
Right.
If that's going to rejuvenate you, cancel an appointment if you have to.
Mhm,
Say no. It's okay. All of those things are okay in order for you to be able to deal with your disease and the way that you need to in order to be healthy, in order to take care of you.
mhm, mhm. So, what are your hopes for the future, personally and in terms of lupus research and awareness?
I would just really like to continue to be able to help be a voice for those individuals that have lupus, to allow people to know and learn more about it. They continue to do research. There currently is not a cure for lupus. But just when you have those opportunities to donate towards a worthy cause as such, I would encourage people to do so. Because if you ever had a loved one with any type of disease that there was no cure for, you absolutely know that it would mean the world to be able to have a cure
Mhm.
so someone doesn't have to go through the pain.
Right.
of enduring.
Right. Right. Um, what advice would you give to someone who's just been diagnosed with a condition?
Uh, to be encouraged, the mental is half of it.
Right.
So if you can mentally accept, no matter what age you are, no matter how healthy you have been, if you can mentally accept that your life is going to be different,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't necessarily mean that it's over. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be restricted and living a full life, but
Right.
it does mean it's going to be different. So being able to mentally prepare yourself for that, I would say, is half the battle.
Mm. Yes, I love that. I love that. Sometimes we just have to transform our mind. We think that, like you say, oh my gosh, I have this, it's over, I'm young, potentially, I won't be able to do this, or I can't do that. But you are just a living testimony that life still goes on. You still
Mhm.
thrive, you still
Yes.
continue to do, you still look well. So,
Thank
in
you.
closing, is there a quote or a belief that helps you to stay grounded or hopeful?
Um, Always prayer. The word of God always keeps me encouraged. Um, it already lets me know that I'm a conqueror. The word of God lets you know that you are a conqueror in any situation. So I would encourage for individuals that believe in Christ to pray, to stay encouraged, know that this is just a battle, a physical battle that you have to go through, but you can make it through it. It's just being able to mentally prepare yourself, knowing that you have to take care of yourself
Mhm.
in order to be able to move and not allow lupus to dictate your life. You can control. You can control it absolutely. The
Yeah.
things that you can control in your life, control those things,
Mhm.
uh, and live life to the fullest.
Right. Right. Well, you've heard it. You heard it from the warrior, the conqueror, the survivor, the continuing to push forwarder. You've heard it from her, Mrs. Nakebi Swanigan. Thank you so much for coming on and just sharing and giving your testimony and how you have overcome, how you're thriving, how this condition does not have to rule or take over your life, even if it does affect it in some ways. It does not have to take over. You've heard her say to make sure that you take care of yourself, that you get the rest that you need, you listen to your body, and that you absolutely advocate for yourself, no matter
Mhm.
what condition that may be. Talk to your doctors,
Mhm.
reach out for family and support, be able to just simply um, pray, ask God for
Mhm.
help. And also, you know, it's okay to not be okay.
It is. Absolutely is.
Take those middle moments and do what it is that you need to do. Did I leave out anything? Do you have anything to add with that, or did I cover it all?
You covered it all. There is one thing that I would say, because not everybody may be blessed enough to have the medical team that I have.
Mm-hmm.
So do your research.
Yeah.
Do the research on the medication, on the disease, because it affects each person differently.
Right.
So do your research. And when you go to see the physicians, ask questions.
Right.
Nobody knows your body like you. So be prepared to speak about what is going on with you, the things that you have researched, the medications that are available. So just in case you don't have that wonderful team like I do your research and absolutely ask questions. Don't be afraid. It's your body.
Yeah,
Nobody knows your body like you. Nobody knows what you're dealing with because stress also um, can affect your lupus and flare ups. Control the things that you can control, but absolutely advocate for yourself.
absolutely.
Cassandra, I appreciate you having me on
Of
and
course.
allowing me to tell my story. And I hope that it encouraged someone.
Absolutely. I'm sure it did. It encouraged me for someone that hasn't been diagnosed with anything, just to see you thrive and continue to go and in some of the battles and struggles that even I know nothing about. So you have uplifted me, you have encouraged me, and I'm sure that this will be a blessing to others who have it as well as those who don't, to know that you are thriving, you are surviving, you are trusting, and you keep going. So thank you
Yes.
all. Lupus Awareness Month. Do your research. If you know someone, reach out. Just do a check in, a check on, and just see
Absolutely.
how they're doing. See if there's anything that they need. See where they're at. You don't necessarily have to bring up the condition, but just do a check in.
Hmm.
Thank you all. It's been great having you on, and I look forward to the next time. Have a good one.